been a rainy couple of days. But in Florida, you can't hold the sun down for too long. Beautiful, 71 degrees this morning. It's been like 76 or so the past couple of days. And now it's nice and cool today. The sun is breaking through. Look at that thing. Among all the beautiful lifts and stuff, it's looking pretty good. See, the clouds are trying. It's supposed to be raining on and off a lot today, so prepare for some background noise, that kind of thing. Thanks for tuning in, by the way. I'm Jimmy. We're making it work if you're new here. We're gonna spend a day in the shop fixing a whole bunch of cars. We don't talk about the weather all the time. Might mention it on occasion, but I'm gonna try to grow my beard in a little more too, over the ears. What do you think? I gotta finish up that Buick with the relays and the bad fan resistor, which is apparently part of the fan assembly today. The Infinity, we're gonna try to pull the cats away from the exhaust manifold, see if it runs better. Man, the Nissan hasn't been picked up yet. That's like a 16-hour job. The Jeep hasn't been picked up yet for the battery and stuff from this week. I hope they pick them up by the end of the week. It's gonna be another 35-hour week otherwise. We do what we gotta do. We're gonna have some fun. We're gonna learn a thing or two. Stay tuned. Hyundai Elantra 2013 vintage, starting off the day. Oh my goodness gracious. Look out for cockroaches. Look out for cockroaches. Oil change, diagnostic. The check engine light is on with no drivability concerns. Why would you have the air on a warmer setting? It hasn't been cold enough for that. It's been like, well, I guess when it rains it does go down to 70s, but we've had 90-degree days pretty regular. So oh, there's our scrap guy. There's our scrap guy bringing our beer money. He actually pays for our scrap. Jim, actually, the guy that used to own the shop, just rode him, wouldn't let him have our scrap until he gave him some kind of money for it. So he pays for rotors and certain things. Anyway, this car here with a love rating of 1. He said his gas gauge doesn't work, although it's reading 3 bars, which looks good to me. 134,075 miles. And, you know, in 5 minutes, I could have this car at a 3. I want to see if I can help this customer fix his car, find out why his check engine light comes on intermittently, and change his oil. So his oil change he's actually doing a little early. It says it's due at 136. He's got 134. Okay, goodbye. Let's get under the hood, see what's going on around there, and grab the scanner. You're about to be fixed whether you want to or not. I'm not sitting in the car because it smells pretty bad, like if you were standing next to a McDonald's dumpster. Same kind of vibe. So he says my check engine light comes on intermittently. Oh, by the way, my gas gauge doesn't work. So the check engine light comes on because the gas gauge doesn't work. It's in history, it's not current. Right now it just shows 3 bars, so it's working. So either there's something going on with the sensor where it gets to a certain position and it goes open, very common, or it could be a break in a wire touching somewhere it shouldn't, something like that. So we'll look up that code, see if there's any service bulletins related to it or not, and then we'll go from there. Warning lamp failure for the airbag. Bunch of airbag codes. This code's probably related to a battery. Battery's been replaced within the past few months probably. I'm gonna clear out a lot of these codes. We'll see if they want to get into where we could diagnose the fuel sending unit. I may have to, if I can find a connector where I don't have to lower the tank or remove a seat cushion or anything, then it'll be a little easier. We won't have to charge them any extra, but I also have to look that up while I'm checking on a service bulletin for it. And I'm gonna grab the oil and the filter too. They want some dinosaur blood, let's do that. It had a Jiffy Lube oil change sticker in it, so we know they got them for an air filter already. And the box was closed correctly. Upgraded them from an STP to a sweet Wix filter. Well, it's a Napa version of it. I'm gonna say that's a 17. Alright. It's an awful big wrench now that it's not that tight. I'm going like this. I can't, splash shield hits my hand. That's horrible news. No. I'll tell you what, you spend some money, got new struts, got new sway bar links, got new air filter, the oil change is being done 2,000 miles early. All he needs is a vacuum cleaner and a garbage can. This car will be pretty decent. Let go of the gasket, dang it. Gasket stuck to the pan, so it's acting like a nylon thread lock. It's barely too tight for me to turn it by hand. Oh, there you go. Oh, draining! Oil's really not bad. That's why that thing felt like it was tight all the way out, I believe, because the gasket was stuck to the pan. Get a new one. Alright, nice new gasket. The correct one. Pretty sure it's supposed to be that aluminum spacer, not have the O-ring with a steel outside on it. But let's clean up after ourselves. Oh, you know what? I haven't got to spray any Rain Man Ray in a while. Let's do that. Alright, I feel better now. Now I know it's clean. Alright, nice new struts, new sway bar links, new brakes, front and rear. Tires are all pretty good. Aired them up already. What do we gotta do now? We just gotta put dinosaur blood in there, some washer fluid, run through some of the fluids, make sure they're okay. We know the filter's good, and we'll take a glance at the belts and hoses, stuff like that, but I'm sure they're gonna be okay. I don't know if you see my other videos, I prefer to leave the OEM belts and hoses on here till they're legitimately worn out. The aftermarket ones are nowhere near as good. They seem to have about half the lifespan of the OEM ones. 4.2 quarts, delicious dinosaur blood. This engine's probably cleaner inside than the cars. There's no washer fluid here, Bill. Oh my God. How are we going to share the burden of warranty? There's no washer fluid. I think I did too much. It's a little blue. How many times have you used for it? Like 2 or 3. Yeah, I thought I did 2 and it looks like it's really blue. You wouldn't think that well water would turn that blue. Yeah. Oh, it wasn't that low anyway, man. Oh no. Oh, ratchets. That's good. I can fix it. That'll be $49.95. Oh, that's not supposed to be like that. Little wiper blade. It's got new front ones. All right. We're gonna do this here wiper. First order business, getting to see you can lift it off. Yeah. Usually, you just continue to turn it once you get to that point, and it comes right off. The replacement ones are similar but different. You rotate it in like the other one was. Boom. They look complicated, but they're not. And now you don't have to worry about scratching his windshield. Or what was that called? The window. Sorry. The last thing we want to do is light up the comments section over a wiper blade. Alright, they finally gave me the keys to the Ford Focus that the customer put all the parts in himself. This ticket was written 60 cars ago. It's been sitting here waiting for me to do it, I guess. They've been skipping over it and taking the tickets that came in after it and just leaving it here till I got to it. Kind of pisses me off, but 2012, 141,800 miles. Transmission doesn't shift right. Check engine lights on. Vibrating like crazy. You could probably hear that in the camera. Motor mounts are toasted or something. Something not tight, or motor mounts blown out, or both. The customer did everything. It says new harness, TCM, shift actuators, no reverse. Okie dokie. I hope the guy picks that Nissan up. That's like 16, 17 hours. The Jeep's still there. They haven't told me anything about the Infinity. Alright, there's the Mazda Miata with the head gasket problem, and I was just reading the comments talking to my buddy MPH. Customer asked for a radiator hose and a thermostat, and we did it. It needs a water pump and a head gasket. So, Malibu needs a transmission. A customer just bought that 2 weeks ago, and the transmission went out. And it's sitting out there. And this doesn't have reverse, so I can get a helper, or I can try to roll it backwards and drive it forward around the building. I think I'll try that. We'll come back once I sort that out. Man, this thing is jacked up. I said the customer put a harness, a TCM, actuators, all that stuff in it, and it still doesn't work right. And they've been working on it for how long? And you get 1 hour to figure it out. He said, well, just spend up to an hour and then stop. I'm like, it might take 4, 5, 6 hours to figure this thing out. I don't know how long it's going to take. We're going to give it a go anyway, though. I'm going to spend an hour on it and stop if I get to an hour. I'm going to get my scanner, see what the codes are, and then we'll go from there. What I could do is just turn it off, get in my truck, and go home. But I'm too stubborn for that. Alright, we got loads of codes in this thing. You guys want to see something funny? That's a ticket 148. The ticket I just worked on right before it, the oil change, 206. So, in case I sound like a crybaby. There's so many codes that I just went and cleared them all out. I don't know if those codes are caused by the work being done, if there's legitimate problems. A lot of CAN codes, communication codes could lead us to shorted wiring in the CAN that would stop the TCM from working correctly, very possible. But it says they replaced the harness, so I don't know what that means. I tried to do a clutch teach-in, clutch system test. It failed. A fault in the system prevents the module from executing the routine. Choose gears is complete. Clutch teach-in. Learning reference clutch position complete. Clutch travel test failed. Clutch position ramp cycle incomplete. Clutch self-open test incomplete. That tells me something. I know whatever it's doing hardcore. It won't get past the clutch test. So maybe he replaced one and not all of them, or not the broken one, I should say. So I'm going to try a couple more of these types of tests, and maybe I'll try a TCM adaptive learning procedure next. It's probably not going to do anything, but I'm going to try it. Maybe it hasn't been done. Maybe that's why it doesn't work correctly, right? I mean, to put a TCM in, I don't even know if it's been programmed, but it's communicating and not setting any TCM communication or programming codes. There are codes that'll tell you it hasn't been programmed. It's not doing that. So we'll go ahead. We'll try this one more test. Oh, battery low. Let me get the charger on it. I'll try one more test here after hooking up the charger. And then we'll come back and show you what we find with that. Oh, my little TB6000 wouldn't charge it. Kind of strange. I put the regular ProLogix charger on it. 55% was at 12.2 volts. Charging it up while I go look up service bulletin stuff. It failed both tests, actuator tests, trying to work the clutch and the shifter mechanism actuators. I'm wondering how many of me replaced. You got to take the wheel liner out to see the ones on the side. So I'll see exactly where they're all located and what it takes to get to them. Sometimes something broken in the transmission and the actuator's just not going to do it. So that's also very possible. It looks like the transmission's been changed once. It's not like the original one, but it looks like a long time ago. So it's very possible something broken in a transmission. It might be pretty simple once I can figure it out. Alright, let's go look that up and we'll see. Alright, I apologize about the annoying key chime, but does it with the key on. I wonder if it'll stop with the door closed. Maybe that'll work. Oh, look at that. Okay, I don't apologize. It's not doing it anymore. How about that? I got my service procedure bulletin I printed out. They want you to do 3 different learn procedures after any repairs on this transmission system. I don't have any codes though. It's talking about codes you get. But so I went through all the gear positions: park, reverse, neutral, drive, low. And you have to touch the button each time you change the shifter and tell it what you're doing. Now it learned all those positions. Function is completed. So now reverse, park, reverse, neutral, drive, low. Okay, they're all learned. So we'll verify that, switch the ignition off, and I think the next will be either the shift adaptive learning or the clutch adaptive learning, but there's 2 more we got to do. And then once those 3 are done, if they'll fully complete, it should work okay. If they won't complete, it usually means there's an actuator failure or a mechanical failure in the transmission. Since the customer's already replaced actuators, that would probably indicate a failure in the transmission. Could also be an electrical thing, but he put a new harness and a TCM in it, thinking it was electrical too, right? So he's covered basically all the bases. I would have to get to the actuator with a voltmeter, verify that it's trying to move it, or listen for it making noises. A lot of times we will hear them crunching and things because something's broken in the transmission. So, or the actuator itself can break too. So, usually what they'll do, is have you move the actuator from one position to another and see if the problem moves. And if it does, the actuator's bad. If it doesn't, it's mechanical inside the transmission at that point. Which you're talking about several hours to figure all that out, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it after trying these procedures. So I'm going to do the next one now. Should be shift drum next. It's going to move the shift drum motors, reference their positions, and then it'll tell me if that's okay or not. If it's not, then I know where I have to look for my problem. And this will take a minute. Well, it says 25 seconds, right? Takes about a minute or so. I think the timer is not 100% accurate, but we'll wait a little while and we'll see. I'll show you what happens when we come back. Okay, the shift drum procedure, it says function completed. That took about a minute and a half. Once that timer ran down, it told me step on the brake and then push OK, and then it took about 45-50 seconds. Now it says function completed. So we're past that test. Now I got to switch the ignition off, and that'll take a few seconds as well. And then we'll do the final one. And if that one passes, this thing just might work. We'll see. You might notice too, these are laid out in order. They want you to do range sensor first, shift drum, and then clutch. Then exit. Alright, so now we're on clutch. We're going to run through what it wants us to do here. You got to turn the key on. It never tells you to turn the key on, which is kind of unusual. It's not going to load vehicle data with the key off. So we'll run through this test. This is the one that failed last time, but I'm not sure if the other 2 had been done, so I'm starting from scratch, just in case none of this stuff was done after all the other work was done. Putting in the parts is generally the easy thing. As long as you have some tools, a little bit of patience, you can bolt the parts in. But knowing the procedures to go through after you're done and doing the programming and that stuff, a lot of people don't want to do that kind of thing. It's in park, press the brake pedal and hold. Wait for 10 seconds. Answer the phone, please. Someone's got a classic car or a problem child Jimmy needs to look at. Okay, this will take a while. It's going to run through all these tests, and we'll see what happens. If it completes them all, we're in good shape, right? Now it added another page of tests it's going to do. I'm hearing clunking and popping under the hood, so it didn't get past this one before. Whoop. Now, okay, we're getting pretty far along here now. We'll let this finish up. We'll come back and see if this thing will work. That would be pretty awesome. I mean, it would make me a little sad that it sat out in the grass for 2 or 3 days waiting for me to get to it. But, oh, test failed. Uh-oh. Gear travel test unit B. Clutch travel test failed. Clutch assembly function incomplete. Set ignition off. That powers down the module, takes it out of learn mode. So now I have to go see which actuator that is. I believe it's the one on the top, and it looks brand new. So it's probably got a problem in the transmission. I'll probably have to get labor time to move the actuators to be more certain whether it's transmission or an actuator. If you do a transmission, it comes with the actuators, but it's very expensive. The last one I did was like $4,000, $3,800 or something like that. So we'll let this power down, find out which actuators are which, and then we'll see if we get permission to move them around a little bit. We'll make the actuators dance, basically. Everyone likes to dance. One of the other things it wants you to check is ground G104, which I believe is here under the airbox. You can see where there's a new eyelet there. That's part of the new harness. He changed this whole harness, the transmission harness, and that's the actuator that's fairly new. Let me see if this one is A or B. Make sure he replaced the right one, and maybe we can move them. But it's looking like transmission internal failure. Number one cause of this problem is the TCM. He changed that, but who knows if he got another used one or something. If the same problem happens with a lot of them, then a used one's not going to help you. I know the new ones are in national back order, so it's very possible to put a used one in. I might have to find that too, but a lot of the harness clips and stuff aren't put back in place. But the ground looks tight, I'm going to try to stick a wrench or socket on it and see if it's tight. And then check to make sure my actuator locations. Clutch actuator B, clutch actuator A. This is the one we can see on top. This is new. I got to look at this one, see if this looks new too. I got to lift it up and take the underbelly off to get a look at that. That's new. So, new TCM. It's not used. Brand new. That's new. It's got transmission failure. Something wrong in the transmission. I can swap them just in case a new one's defective. Try switching them and see if the problem moves. But generally there's something broken that it moves, or worn out that it moves, so it fails. So this has 2 clutches, 2 shafts. It's a very odd system they came up with. Something for gas mileage, I guess. Super high failure item. So anyway, let me see how far they want to go with moving them and stuff like that. But I'm 95% sure that's going to be the problem right here, this whole area right here. He may take it and do it himself and be sad, but that's okay. I'm sad too. Let's be sad together. All right, they said go ahead and do the alternator and the valve cover gaskets and the VVT solenoid we recommended about 6-8 months ago. I said, what about the cats being plugged? We have to do that first, right? Yeah, go ahead and do that first. Okay, it's not on the ticket, but it happens. Everyone's human. Number 1, getting these 14mm bolts loose. 2 face forward, 1 faces backwards. This one, 2 face forward, 1 face backwards. So if I can loosen them, get a nice 1/4 inch, 3/8 inch gap, we'll see how it runs. Some of these bolts I get with my gear wrenches, and some of these bolts a socket and a transmission extension, and some of them are ratchet. And it loosen right up. It looks really rusty, but the bolts come right out. Now I get to try out my new Milwaukee rebuilt 3/8 extended reach ratchet with a big fat head. They put a new head unit thingamajig in there too. That's normally $45, but it said warranty, and they also supposedly did something with the screws, but this wasn't replaced. So I don't know if they have oversized screws they just put in it or something. But it works. That's all that really matters, right? All I really have to worry about is if it works or not. I could use a ratchet on this, but I can't swing it anywhere, so... Uh-oh. Apparently that doesn't have the chutzpah, or whatever that's called. Let's try this. I don't know how much I can swing this dealio. Oh. I told you how much I like these wrenches. How handy dandy they are. Oh, the top bolt, that's not going to be fun. It faces the wrong way. I can't get it with the transmission extension. I wonder if I can get it from up top. Oh, that would be cool. If I can let this down and do it from under the hood. Look at it down there. See it? Not sure if it comes up on camera. I think you can see it from there. It's right in between the hose and the line. Right down there. Alright, let me see if my transmission extension will reach. I might have to get my long one. I got my my medium length. She's about 24 inches, but I have a 36-inch one. I told you it was big enough to get the job done. I got about 1/8 of an inch. I want to get a little more room now, so I'm going to loosen this bracket that also holds the exhaust. This is how the gear ratchet broke. Alright, I'm going to break it again right away. I got my transmission adapter handy for my 3/8 socket and my 1/2 inch gun. Let's try to use it and watch our face. How about that? The 3/8 ratchet with the looseners, they weren't very tight. Ah, well. I didn't want to yank on the plastic handle again and bust stuff. It probably would have went if I pushed it. I got scared. I admit it. I'm a man. I can admit when I'm scared. Now I got at least a 1/4 inch gap on both sides. I'm gonna fire this thing up, see how it runs. Before we do the $1,800 worth of work. I just had an interesting conversation with the owner of the Mars dog Miata. He wants me to promise him it's only a head gasket and not a cracked head or a cracked block. And I said, I can't promise you that. 9 times out of 10, it's just a gasket. He said, I don't have money to throw around. I said, I know. But we won't know till we tear it down. What's wrong with it inside there? My concern right now is how this runs. Not accelerating. Okay, it's not plugged exhaust. It's very strange. I was not expecting that. Let me pop the engine cover off of this thing and see if I can see something at the throttle body. Very interesting. It'll accelerate slightly and no more. But it's acknowledging the gas pedal. The throttle body is the purple and gold. It just stays basically almost flatlined. If I go full throttle, boom, go off, throttle body, gas pedal. We got some more testing to do. Very strange. It felt like it accelerates at first, but not afterwards. But I think what's probably happening is it's flaring the idle on start, and it works a second or two, and literally just stops. I was acting, I had my head somehow wrapped around restricted exhaust, but I've had it running now about 5 minutes, and it's not getting worse or shutting off. It's starting to misfire a little bit, but... Alright, I pulled the snorkel out of here, which happens to be broken. Try starting this thing up. I'll disconnect the mass airflow so it goes into limp mode and disregards it, but... I'm going to try something a little radical. Since the throttle won't accelerate, when I push the gas pedal it sees it, but nothing happens out of the throttle, right? What happens if I use a screwdriver to move the throttle? Will it accelerate? Yep, it doesn't run very good because the mass airflow is discombobulated. Something going on with the throttle body. I got to check for powers and grounds, figure out which wires are which, see if it's trying to move it. What's really odd is it's not setting a code. Something strange. Okie dokie. There's a red wire on pin 3. We're going to check that. Make sure it's getting the correct battery voltage. I got to turn the key on. This one says it should be on the outside. Printed a connector diagram. Shows you my PCM connectors, throttle body connector, every connector involved. What this does, there's a 15 amp fuse is basically what I'm checking at. I want to see if the ECM is sending voltage out. This is the control, just like a window motor, power and ground one direction, power and ground the other direction. I want to check to see if this fuse is powering up the circuit. I'm going to probably go to the fuse in the instrument in the dashboard, find fuse 87, 15 amp, make sure it's not blown. And then I want to see if I have battery voltage, key on, engine off at that red wire in pin 3, except it's not in pin 3. The red wire is in the middle in pin 2. That's very interesting. Either my wiring diagram's wrong or someone has messed with it. He said it started going haywire on him going down the road. So I doubt anyone was under the hood while he was driving. So let's assume the wiring diagram's wrong and see if I have voltage real quick with my test light. I'm going to use a light instead of a meter. See if the light lights up nice and bright. It's loading the circuit and showing me voltage if it's bright. If it's dim, I know I got a low voltage, then I'll get my voltmeter. The key's on. Let's see what we got here. Well, that's not right. Got a good ground. That is nowhere near battery voltage when it's that dim. That's a volt or two. We'll have to check and see. I do not have power on any of the 6 leads. I got a dim light on the blue wire. I'll have to pull up a wiring diagram that shows me all these wires and what they're supposed to be. And I'm going to take a quick look at that fuse 87. Alright, a little bit of a frustrating day here, but I got good news and I got even better news. Some of the good news is this wiring diagram's wrong. It says pin 3 is red, and this diagram is from Identifix. It says pin 2 is red, and pin 2 is red. Identifix wins, Nissan loses. Going through all these wires, but I also bumped into something else. People are having problems with alternators causing my symptoms. And I said, Well, my battery light's on. It wasn't charging yesterday. I said the battery light's on, everything's plugged in, the alternator's full of oil. So it's going to need an alternator, but let's figure out why it won't accelerate. Well, if I'd have stayed on that path and not talked myself out of it, I'd have fixed it. Show you guys what we found here. Because of all the alternator problems people are having, I went out and got my voltmeter, hooked it to the battery. The thing that concerned me is the battery's not dying or going dead. It starts great, and the battery light stays on. It wasn't charging yesterday, but today it's charging. Let's show you what we found. When it ran decent, I drove it over here. It wasn't charging. And then when it started charging again, I started getting this symptom where it shuts off. But I'd already put my voltmeter on it. 18 volts. So it's anything over 17 volts, and the ECM goes uh-oh and shuts off the throttle. It won't let the throttle work. It's cooking this battery. I gotta shut it off. Yeah, no AC voltage, but 18 volts. It's gonna fry that battery. I gotta shut it off. Probably because it's full of oil, it's causing it to act up. And the alternator's not that old. Looks like it was replaced maybe a year or two ago. Who knows? Exhaust is okay. The throttle body voltage, all of those 6 wires come from the ECM. So the ECM is pulling back the voltage, trying to keep the engine from running because there's so much voltage. If that makes any sense. Kind of odd. It's not something Nissan programs in. It's just something that happens when their computers see so much voltage, they go into ouch mode. All right, let me let them know up front. I spent a little extra time on it because I thought I was done checking the charging system. When the light was on and it wasn't charging, I was done. So what must be happening is intermittently it won't charge, then it overcharges. If you get no throttle response, no codes, check your alternator. And also now I can smell the battery, so it's trying to cook the battery. All right, you get over here. Uh-oh. Oh, a bird's egg fell out of the nest somewheres. Uh-oh. That's terrible news. There's enough of them noisy blackbirds around anyway. Took the tires off because I'm vertically challenged. 5'7" and a 1/16. That's what I used to say. Now it's about 5'6.5" probably. I shrunk, I don't know. Feel like I got shorter. Anyway, I took the tires off and I took the hood shocks off because this hood it opens like this. So I will smash my shiny skull into the edge of the hood. So taking the hood shocks off let me open it more, because they're doing like 4 hours worth of work to do these valve covers. Once we fix the oil leaks, we can do the alternator. I'm going to spray everything down with brake clean and we'll get started. Oh well, I had to get another can. It said, not enough power, your GoPro will shut off now. A battery is required. And then I do a hard reset, it says the battery's at 60%. I don't know. Don't spray in the throttle body. That'll accidentally make it need a throttle body too. Alright, I'm gonna finish cleaning this off and we'll get started. It's like 3 hours labor. I think the alternator's like an hour and a half or so. And then she said we're going to replace one of the cam solenoids for 0.5. I don't know which one though. This one looks like it might have been done. That one not so much. I don't know. I just do what I got to do. I just row my boat. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm rowing. It might not look like it. It looks like I'm spraying. Trust me, this is another form of rowing. We're just trying to keep efficiency up, and I'm going to try to get a 500 horse Merc Cruiser to put on my rowboat so I can keep up with all the nonsense. I love this job, honestly. I kid, no, and sometimes it's really frustrating and it gets under my skin and I go, I'm gonna go home. And then I go, you know what? That person's not gonna get their car back if I do that. That would make me a dick, and I don't want to be a dick. If I am, it's accidental, never intentionally. I saw Bad Chad lost his shit when I guess he bought a car and didn't think it was as described, and he got all angry and stole the guy's hubcaps or something. And then the next day he was apologizing. It's pretty funny. Well, Nothing makes you sadder than feeling like someone took advantage of you, right? So that's why I don't like to take advantage of anybody. I'd rather make sure I come out on the losing end in every transaction so I have a clear conscience. Frustrating sometimes, but I still have a clear conscience. Oh, look at this. This is supposed to go over the intake, like this. Boom. Don't worry, we're going to fix it. When we're done, it's going to be in the right place. It's not going to be under the intake. Even though I'm not going to be doing this till after the valve covers are done, it'll be nice and clean and dry and ready to go when I get to it. I hope. That's the plan. Stan, I'm getting on the bus, Gus. I'm trying to be coy, Roy. Set yourself free. You guys know that song? Oh, the day is closing in on an end, and tomorrow's Friday. And I still got a whole bunch of vehicles I worked on here this week and last week. Maybe I'll be in the 20s this week. I'll have 23 hours or something cool like that. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Alright. It'll be the third time I'm filling this up, but we're gonna have it clean because this thing's a mess. Alright, we got that bad Johnny pretty clean right there. You couldn't even tell something was leaking oil before. A couple of clamps to take off. I believe on this you can leave the cover on and take the 10 and like a couple of 10s and these 10s here, and it comes off of there. I think. I am not positive, but I think. I don't think it's too bad. I shouldn't have said that. Why did I do that? Gotta obviously take this off. Shouldn't be too bad. Alright, let's stop horsing around, stop procrastinating, and grab our 10 and start doing it. Well, I took this bolt out, and I went to take these bolts out, and then I bolted in. That's handy. I'm saving time already. Look at that. I don't have to worry about it. This one, you can see it's dirty underneath it. This one doesn't look like it's been out too long. In any event, my point was it's out. And I think this one I'll take out too. And I can just leave this with the bracket and everything inside there. At least this one's bolted in. I appreciate that. The last mechanic put a real effort into getting some of the brackets put back, and that's nice. That is nice. Let me get my needle nose. I'm almost to the point where I can see if these 6 bolts will let it lift up. I pulled all the bolts out that I thought would let it come loose, and much to my chagrin, Nissan didn't make it easy to do like I hoped. So I got to take all of these 10s around the perimeter out, take the top off, and then there's 2 bolts under there to take the rest off. You gotta love Nissan, they're awesome. One of the best cars money can buy. The only thing they make that I like is the GTR. But I still don't even want to work on it. I'd only own one if I could afford to take it to the dealership. Some poor bastard making 20 bucks an hour can work on it under warranty. I don't want to do it. Actually, a car like that, I wonder if it even comes with a warranty. A lot of times they'll say, this is high performance, track use, no warranty, 12 months at the most or something. I don't know. You guys know if the GTR comes with a 336 bumper to bumper? Alright, that's most of them. Look at that. Told you it was easy. That's all I complained about. Nissan's on the ball over here, man. On the ball. Uh-oh. Oh, there's another coolant hose down there. Don't pull too hard. It's molded too, which is cool. Oh. If there was any room to get the camera back there, we would have had a good laugh, because the clamp faces the throttle body, so you can't squeeze it to remove the hose. So I put my pocket screwdriver in it and turned it so I can get my pliers on it and take it off. I don't know why it would face the throttle body. Maybe you're supposed to take the throttle body off to get to that. I don't know. All I know is it's off now. Ta-da! Alright, got some more bolts to take out. Oh, you know what I gotta do? I think if I take them 6 bolts out, I can get to the other 2 bolts that are holding it. There's a lot of particles in here. That's not good. Maybe these 6 bolts hold it down. I don't know. Seems like something might be happening. Look at that. Something happened. Rise. Oh, nope, nothing happened. I lied. Nothing happened. Tell me those don't do anything? That's silly. How come the picature made it look like there was a couple of bolts in here somewhere? Uh-oh. Oh, there it is. Here's one. Oh, that's what's holding it. That one little 10mm nut. Oh, FYI, don't drop it. Oh, so you had to take all of that off. Alright, that makes sense. Now, so that this doesn't turn into something really silly, as if it's not silly enough already, we'll cover this so nothing happens. No robin eggs go in here, no blackbird eggs, no spiders. You know what? The valve covers don't look so bad with that out of the way. A lot of these little brackets were not bolted down, saving me a lot of time and effort. That's crazy. Oh, that one wasn't even plugged in. How is that not misfiring? Maybe it was plugged in just enough, I guess. This one likes where it is. It doesn't want to go. There you go. You just give it a little help with the old pry bar tool, aka pocket screwdriver. These things have about 5,000 uses, I think. I ought to make a video. I bet you there's already a dozen videos, or I bet you there's 12,000 videos already on uses for pocket screwdrivers, huh? What do you guys think? Should I make a pocket screwdriver video? I mean, you can clean your nails with them. You can pop electrical connectors apart with them. You pick your teeth if you want. I wouldn't do that, but I know a guy used to scratch his ear with his pocket screwdriver. I'm like, whew. I don't know why that makes me nervous. This is, oh, look at all the grounds. That's cool. That's a big giant mess. I'm hoping I can pull the coils out of here and kind of sneak the valve cover out without disconnecting the wiring harness from the entire engine. We'll see. I did end up pulling the whole wiring harness off. Not too bad, as 3 connectors go down this way and 2 connectors go down this way. The 2 grounds, the coil connectors and stuff, I was able to just lift it all off of there. Now it's out of my way, I can do a cleaner job on the valve cover gaskets. That's the plan, cleaner job. We're going all out on clean jobs this week. I'm not making any money, but it's gonna be clean, man. These coils here, I'm gonna solidify my efforts for the day and wrap this video up right here, because I'm not gonna take the valve covers off tonight and have them open all night. I'm gonna stop here. They're closing up the shop already anyway. So it's the end of the day, and I don't want to leave it open, so I'm not even gonna work a little late tonight like I normally would. Just, at least if I had to put it back together, I'd finish that part before I ended the day. Hopefully you guys understand where I'm leaving it here. And I'm gonna lower the hood too in case it rains a little bit tonight. So thanks for watching today's video, guys. A little frustrating here and there. We got some stuff done. We figured some oddball issues out. So it was a pretty productive day, really. I'll get a good night's sleep and I'll be ready to go again tomorrow. No big deal, just part of the deal, man. Some days you're rowing slow, some days you're rowing fast. What's important is you keep rowing. I hope I see you in the next video, because you're awesome.